My beloved child, pause for a moment and give me your full attention. Let the noise around you fade and allow the thoughts racing through your mind to slow down. You have carried so much into this moment, questions you have been unable to answer, responsibilities that never seem to end, and emotions you have tried to hide because you believed no one would understand. But I understand. I know what has been happening beneath the surface of your life. I see beyond the smile you offer others, beyond the calm voice you use when someone asks whether you are all right, and beyond the strength you display because you do not want anyone to worry about you. I see the part of you that is tired. I see the part of you that has been quietly wondering how much longer you can continue carrying everything without falling apart. That is why I am asking you to stop and listen. This is not a moment for you to perform, pretend, or prove anything. You do not need to appear strong before me. You do not need to arrange your thoughts into perfect words or explain every detail of what you have been feeling. Simply be still and recognize that you are in the presence of the one who already knows you completely. I have seen every morning when you opened your eyes and immediately felt the weight of another day. I have watched you rise despite the heaviness in your heart, attend to your responsibilities, speak kindly to others, and continue moving forward when part of you wanted nothing more than to withdraw and rest. I know how exhausting it has been to remain dependable while feeling uncertain inside. I know how often you have encouraged others while secretly wishing someone would notice that you needed encouragement too. I know the loneliness of being surrounded by people and still feeling as though no one truly sees you. There have been nights when your body was tired, but your mind refused to grow quiet. You replayed conversations, imagined possible outcomes, questioned your decisions, and searched for solutions that never seemed to come. You wondered whether you had missed something, taken a wrong turn, or whether your life would always feel this difficult. You whispered prayers that seemed too small to matter, and at other times, you had no words at all. You simply lay awake with tears in your eyes, hoping I would understand the things you could not express. My child, I understood every one of those moments. Not one sigh escaped my attention. Not one tear went unnoticed. Not one silent cry was lost in the darkness. You may have interpreted the silence as distance, but I was not distant. You may have wondered whether I was listening, but I heard you before the words ever reached your lips. You may have felt abandoned, but my presence never left your side. I was with you in the room when no one else knew you were struggling. I was with you during the long drive when your thoughts became overwhelming. I was with you when you sat alone, trying to understand why your heart felt so heavy. I was with you in every ordinary moment when you believed you were facing life by yourself. My presence was not always dramatic, but it was constant. I was the quiet strength that helped you take one more step. I was the breath that steadied you when anxiety began to rise. I was the small sense of hope that remained even after disappointment told you there was no reason to keep believing. You did not survive those days by accident. You were held even when you did not feel held. You were seen even when you felt invisible. You were heard even when heaven seemed silent. I want you to understand this clearly. Your exhaustion does not disappoint me. Your questions do not frighten me, and your moments of weakness do not cause me to turn away. I know that you have tried your best. I know that on some days your best looked like courage, while on other days it simply meant getting out of bed and making it through the next hour. I saw both, and I remained near through both. I am not measuring you by how well you hide your pain or how successfully you convince others that everything is fine. I am looking at your heart with compassion. I know how much effort it has taken for you to continue. I know the private battles no one applauded you for surviving. I know the thoughts you resisted, the fears you carried, and the moments when you nearly lost hope but somehow chose to keep going. You may believe those small acts of endurance meant very little, but I saw every one of them. I was present when you chose patience, even though you were frustrated. I was present when you showed kindness while your own heart was hurting. I was present when you fulfilled your responsibilities, even though you felt drained. I was present when all you could pray was, "Help me." That prayer was enough. I did not require eloquence. I only desired honesty. Now, I am inviting you to bring that same honesty into this moment. Stop trying to determine what you think you should feel, and acknowledge what is truly happening within you. You are safe in my presence. You can admit that you are tired. You can admit that you are confused. You can admit that you do not know what comes next. None of those admissions will separate you from me. They create room for you to recognize that you were never expected to face every moment through your own strength. For now, do not rush ahead in your thoughts. Do not try to solve tomorrow before this moment has ended. Let your breathing become steady. Let your shoulders relax. Let this truth settle quietly within you. You are not alone. The one who formed you has not lost sight of you. The one who knows every hidden corner of your heart is still beside you. I have not forgotten your name, overlooked your struggle, or become indifferent to your tears. I am here, closer than you realize, and I am asking for nothing more in this moment than your attention and your honesty. You do not have to understand everything yet. You do not have to know where the road is leading. You only need to recognize that you are standing in my presence, fully known and deeply loved. Stay here with me for a little while. Let the pressure to have every answer fall silent. Let the need to appear strong come to an end. You have spent enough time believing that you must carry your inner world alone. I see you, my child. I hear you. I know you. I am with you now, just as I was with you in every moment that brought you here. My beloved child, now that you have allowed yourself to be seen, I want you to bring before me the wounds you have carried for far too long. Some of them are easy to name, while others have become so deeply woven into your thoughts that you no longer recognize how much they influence the way you see yourself. You remember the words spoken in anger, the promises that were broken, the moments when someone you trusted chose to walk away, and the times you were made to feel as though your love, loyalty, or effort did not matter. You tried to move forward, but certain memories remained beneath the surface. They shaped your expectations, guarded your heart, and taught you to prepare for disappointment before anything had even happened. You told yourself you were being cautious, but often you were protecting an injury that had never been fully acknowledged. I saw what happened. I saw the moment your trust was broken. I saw how deeply the rejection affected you, even when you pretended it did not. I saw you question your value because someone failed to recognize it. I saw you wonder whether you were too difficult to love, too damaged to understand, or too flawed for anyone to remain close to. But their inability to love you well was never proof that you were unworthy of love. Their choices revealed what remained unresolved within them. They did not define what is true about you. You have allowed other people's words to become labels, and those labels have followed you into places where they never belonged. Perhaps someone called you weak, selfish, foolish, unwanted, incapable, or impossible to please. Perhaps no one spoke those exact words, but their actions made you believe them. Over time, you began repeating those judgments to yourself. You treated them as facts instead of wounds. My child, I want you to separate what happened to you from who you are. You experienced rejection, but you are not rejected. You endured betrayal, but you are not foolish for having trusted. You made mistakes, but you are not a failure. You walked through seasons of confusion, but you are not permanently lost. Pain may have influenced your story, but it does not have the authority to name you. I alone know the fullness of who you are, and I do not speak to you with contempt. My voice does not shame you into hiding. My voice does not remind you of your worst moments in order to keep you afraid. My voice brings truth without cruelty, correction without rejection, and mercy without humiliation. Learn to recognize the difference. The voice that tells you there is no hope for you is not mine. The voice that says you have gone too far, failed too often, or ruined too much is not mine. I do not deny that you have made wrong choices. I know every decision, every motive, and every consequence more clearly than you do. But I also know the difference between conviction that leads you home and condemnation that keeps you trapped. Conviction reveals what must change while reminding you that change is still possible. Condemnation tells you that you are the problem and that nothing within you can ever be made right. I am not inviting you to live beneath that burden. Bring me the regret you have hidden. Bring me the things you wish you could undo. Bring me the conversations you replay and the decisions you would change if you had another chance. You cannot rewrite yesterday, but you do not have to remain imprisoned by it. Admit what was wrong without turning it into your identity. Take responsibility where responsibility belongs, but do not carry guilt beyond the purpose of repentance. Guilt was never meant to become your permanent home. Shame has convinced you that if others knew the whole truth, they would turn away. It has persuaded you to hide parts of yourself, avoid being fully known, and believe that love must be earned through perfect behavior. But I already know the whole truth, and I have not turned away. There is no hidden chapter of your life that surprises me. There is no failure I discovered too late. I knew every weakness, every fear, and every wrong turn before you ever came to this moment. And still, I call you my beloved. My love is not based on an incomplete understanding of you. I love you with full knowledge. That is why you can stop running from me. You can stop trying to clean every wound before placing it in my hands. You can stop pretending that you are unaffected by what still hurts. Healing begins with honesty. Tell me where the pain lives. Tell me whose words still echo in your mind. Tell me what you are afraid will happen again. Tell me where you blame yourself for something that was never yours to carry. Some burdens belong to you because of choices you made, and I will help you face them truthfully. Other burdens were placed upon you by people who refused to take responsibility for their own actions. I will help you put those down. Forgiveness does not require you to call evil good, pretend the harm was insignificant, or immediately restore access to someone who remains unsafe. Forgiveness means refusing to let another person's wrongdoing continue governing your inner life. It means placing justice in my hands and releasing your need to carry the offense every day. This may not happen all at once. Some wounds are surrendered in layers. A memory may return, and you may need to release it again. That does not mean you have failed. It means the wound is being exposed more deeply, so it can no longer control you in secret. Be patient with yourself. Do not condemn your heart for needing time. I am not rushing you, but I am calling you forward. You cannot enter a new way of living while continually agreeing with every lie your pain has taught you. When the thought comes that you are unlovable, answer it with truth. When shame reminds you of your past, remember that your past is something you lived through, not the sum of who you are. When rejection tells you to close your heart forever, remember that wisdom may establish boundaries without destroying your capacity to love. When regret tells you that your life has been wasted, remember that even failure can become a place where humility, compassion, and discernment are formed. My child, place every false name at my feet. Release the identity built from abandonment, betrayal, humiliation, and fear. You do not need to defend those labels simply because you have carried them for years. They may feel familiar, but familiarity does not make them true. Let me speak more deeply than the voices that wounded you. You are not what they said. You are not the worst thing you have done. You are not the loss you endured or the relationship that ended. You are not the accusation that followed you or the silence that made you feel insignificant. You are mine, fully known, and still loved. Bring me the broken pieces without deciding beforehand that they are beyond repair. Bring me the anger, the grief, the confusion, and the questions. You do not need to hide any of it. I am not asking you to erase your history. I am asking you to stop allowing it to rule your identity. What happened mattered, but it will not have the final authority over who you become. Release it into my hands, not because it was painless, but because you were never meant to remain bound to it forever. My beloved child, now that you have begun to release the wounds that once defined you, I want to speak to the part of your heart that has grown weary from waiting. You have prayed, hoped, prepared, and watched for change, yet so many things still seem unfinished. Some answers have taken longer than you expected. Some doors have remained closed despite your faithfulness. Some situations have stayed almost exactly the same, leaving you to wonder whether your prayers ever reached me at all. You have asked when relief would come, when direction would become clear, when the burden would finally lift, and when the promise you have carried would become visible. I know how difficult it is to remain hopeful when time continues to pass without the outcome you imagined. I know the quiet disappointment that enters your heart when you see others receive what you have been asking for over the years. You celebrate them sincerely, yet somewhere inside, a question rises: why not me? You watch someone else move forward, begin a new chapter, find an opportunity, experience reconciliation, or receive an answer, and you wonder whether you have been overlooked. But my child, another person's timing is not evidence that you are behind. Their path is not the measure of your life. I did not design your journey to be a copy of someone else's. What I am doing in you, around you, and through you has its own purpose, its own order, and its own appointed time. Comparison will make you believe that delay means denial, but that is not always true. It will convince you that someone else's progress proves your failure, yet you do not know the full story of what they have faced, what they are carrying, or what their next season will require. You are seeing only a moment, while I see the entire road. Do not judge your life by a single chapter. Do not decide that nothing is happening simply because nothing dramatic has appeared. Much of my work begins where human eyes cannot see. Before a door opens, circumstances may need to be arranged. Before an answer arrives, hearts may need to soften. Before an opportunity becomes available, relationships, resources, and timing may need to align. Before you step into something new, obstacles you never knew existed may need to be removed. You see silence, but I see movement. You see an empty space, but I see preparation. You see a delay, but I see details being brought into order. I am not asking you to pretend that waiting is easy. I know it can be exhausting. There are days when you feel strong, and there are days when you wonder how much longer you can continue believing. There are moments when hope rises naturally, and others when you must choose it with trembling hands. Your struggle does not offend me. Your questions do not cancel your faith. Faith is not the absence of uncertainty. It is the decision to remain close to me when certainty is unavailable. You may not understand what I am doing, but you can still trust who I am. You may not see the final outcome, but you can still take the next faithful step. You may not know when the season will change, but you can refuse to let fear write the conclusion before the story is finished. My timing may not match your expectations, but it is not careless. I am not delaying because I am indifferent to your pain. I am not withholding because I enjoy watching you struggle. I see consequences you cannot see, connections you cannot trace, and future responsibilities you have not yet imagined. There are times when receiving something too soon would place a burden on you that you are not prepared to carry. There are times when a closed door protects you from a path that appears attractive but would lead you away from peace. There are times when what feels like rejection is actually redirection. You may understand this only later, when you look back and recognize how many things were working together beyond your awareness. Until then, resist the urge to force what has not yet opened. Do not exhaust yourself trying to create outcomes that require my guidance. There is a difference between faithful action and fearful striving. Faithful action does what is right today and leaves tomorrow in my hands. Fearful striving tries to control every result, interpret every silence, and push against every closed door until all strength is gone. I am not calling you to passivity, but neither am I asking you to live under constant pressure. Continue doing what is honest, wise, and available to you. Keep showing up, keep learning, keep praying, keep tending to the responsibilities already in your care. The waiting season is not empty time. It is still part of your life, and it still contains purpose. Do not postpone your peace until every prayer is answered. Do not tell yourself that life can begin only after the breakthrough arrives. There is meaning in today, even if today does not contain the result you wanted. There are people to love, lessons to receive, responsibilities to honor, and moments of grace that should not be missed because your attention is fixed entirely on the future. Hope for what is coming, but remain present where you are. I do not want the unanswered question to consume every good thing already surrounding you. My child, guard your words during this season. Do not continually speak defeat over your life. Do not turn temporary circumstances into permanent declarations. Avoid saying nothing will ever change. I will always be stuck, or it is too late for me. You do not know enough about the future to draw those conclusions. Speak honestly about your pain, but do not surrender your language to despair. Say instead, I do not understand yet, but I will remain faithful. I do not see the way forward, but I will keep listening. I am tired, but I am not abandoned. These are not empty phrases. They are choices that keep your heart open when disappointment wants to close it. There may be times when the answer you receive looks different from what you requested. Do not assume that difference means failure. I know the deeper need beneath every prayer. You may ask for one particular outcome because it is the only solution you can imagine. But I am not limited by what you can imagine. Trust me enough to recognize that my response may come through an unexpected direction, a different opportunity, a changed relationship, or a new understanding. Hold your request sincerely, but hold the form of the answer with open hands. My beloved, you are not being forgotten in this waiting place. Your prayers have not disappeared. Your tears have not been wasted. Your patience is not invisible. The season will not last forever, but while it remains, let it teach you steadiness rather than panic, trust rather than comparison, and obedience rather than control. You do not need to know the date, the method, or every step. You need only enough light for today. Walk with me through this day, and when tomorrow comes, I will meet you there as well. My beloved child, while you have been waiting for circumstances to change, I have also been working within you. The restoration you desire does not begin only when a door opens, a problem disappears, or an answer finally arrives. It begins in the quiet places of your heart where fear has lived for too long, where confusion has clouded your judgment, and where exhaustion has weakened your ability to recognize peace. You have often measured progress by what you could see around you, but some of the most important changes are taking place where no one else can observe them. I am teaching your mind to become still after seasons of constant worry. I am helping your heart feel safe after it learned to expect disappointment. I am rebuilding the strength that was slowly drained by pressure, uncertainty, and prolonged responsibility. This work may feel subtle, but it is not insignificant. Inner restoration is often gentle before it becomes visible. It may begin when you notice that a thought which once controlled your entire day no longer holds the same power. It may appear when you respond with calm, where you once reacted with fear. It may be revealed when you finally recognize that you do not have to solve every problem immediately. These small changes are evidence that healing is taking root. Do not overlook them simply because they are quiet. You once believed that strength meant never feeling tired, never needing help, and never allowing others to see your uncertainty. But true strength is not the ability to suppress every emotion. True strength is the willingness to face what is happening within you without allowing it to rule you. It is the courage to rest when your body and mind are depleted. It is the wisdom to seek support when a burden has become too heavy. It is the humility to admit that you do not know everything and the faith to believe that you can still move forward one step at a time. I am restoring this kind of strength in you. I am not making you harder. I am making you steadier. I am not teaching you to stop feeling. I am teaching you to feel without becoming overwhelmed. I am not asking you to become distant or guarded. I am helping you develop discernment so that you can remain open without becoming careless. For a long time, your mind has been crowded with unfinished conversations, imagined disasters, and questions that have no immediate answers. You have tried to prepare for every possible outcome because uncertainty made you feel unsafe. Yet constant preparation has often become constant tension. Your thoughts have moved from one concern to another until peace has felt almost unfamiliar. My child, I want to quiet that noise. This does not mean every question will disappear at once. It means those questions will no longer occupy the center of your life. You can acknowledge what you do not know without allowing it to dominate you. You can consider a problem without carrying it every hour. You can plan wisely without living in fear of every possibility. When anxious thoughts begin to rise, return to what is true in the present moment. Breathe slowly. Recognize what is actually happening instead of what fear predicts may happen. Ask for wisdom concerning the next step, not the entire future. Peace grows when you stop demanding complete certainty before allowing yourself to rest. I am also renewing your clarity. Pain can distort the way you see yourself, other people, and the choices before you. Exhaustion can make every decision seem urgent, and every obstacle seem permanent. Fear can persuade you to accept what is unhealthy, simply because it feels familiar. As your heart becomes calmer, you will begin to see more accurately. You will recognize which responsibilities truly belong to you and which ones you have accepted out of guilt. You will understand when perseverance is required and when it is time to step away. You will become more aware of the difference between compassion and self-neglect, between patience and avoidance, and between loyalty and the fear of letting go. Clarity will not always arrive as a dramatic revelation. Often, it will come as a quiet understanding that remains steady even after strong emotions have passed. Do not rush important decisions while you are still overwhelmed. Allow peace to become part of the process. I am not only restoring your thoughts, I am teaching your heart how to receive healthy love again. Hurt may have caused you to become suspicious of kindness. You may question people's intentions, withdraw before anyone can become close, or assume that every relationship will eventually end in disappointment. Your caution has protected you in some moments, but it has also kept you isolated. I will not ask you to ignore wisdom or trust everyone immediately. Healthy openness is not the absence of boundaries. It is the willingness to recognize sincerity when it appears and allow trustworthy people to walk beside you. I may bring individuals into your life who listen without controlling, support without judging, and encourage without demanding that you become someone else. They will not require you to hide your weaknesses in order to remain accepted. Learn to receive this care without immediately questioning whether you deserve it. You were never meant to carry every season alone. Support is not evidence of weakness. Sometimes, it is one of the ways I answer the prayer you have been repeating in private. As you become stronger within, you will also become ready to take faithful action. Inner healing is not meant to leave you standing still forever. There will come a time when you must apply what you have learned. You may need to speak honestly, where you once remained silent. You may need to establish a boundary, begin again, accept an opportunity, or leave behind a pattern that continues to drain you. These steps may feel uncomfortable because they lead beyond what is familiar. Do not confuse discomfort with danger. Growth often asks you to act before you feel completely confident. You do not need perfect courage. You only need enough courage for the next decision. Each faithful step will strengthen the part of you that once believed you were powerless. Remember that restoration does not mean returning to the exact person you were before the pain. You have learned too much to become that person again. I am not erasing your experiences. I am redeeming what they have taught you. You are becoming more compassionate without becoming easily manipulated, more discerning without becoming cynical, and more peaceful without becoming passive. Your scars may remain as evidence of what you survived, but they do not have to remain open wounds. They can become reminders that suffering did not destroy your capacity to love, trust, think clearly, or begin again. Be patient with this process. Some days you will feel strong, and on other days, old fears may return. Do not assume that a difficult day has erased all your progress. Healing is not always a straight line. Continue practicing what brings your heart back to peace. Continue speaking truth to thoughts that exaggerate danger. Continue allowing yourself to rest without guilt. Continue welcoming support from those who have shown themselves trustworthy. The inner work happening now is preparing you for responsibilities and opportunities that require a steadier heart. Before you can carry what is next, you must learn not to abandon yourself in the process. My child, let me restore you from the inside out. Let calm return to your mind, clarity return to your decisions, and courage return to your steps. You are not merely waiting for a new season. You are becoming ready to live in it with wisdom, stability, and peace. My beloved child, as I restore your heart and prepare you for what lies ahead, I also want to teach you how to receive provision with gratitude, wisdom, and responsibility. You have often thought of provision only as a sudden answer, a major opportunity, or the immediate removal of financial pressure. But my care is expressed in many forms. Sometimes provision arrives through an open door. Sometimes it comes through the strength to continue working, the wisdom to make a better decision, the discipline to manage what is already in your hands, or the humility to begin with something small. Do not overlook these quieter forms of help simply because they do not resemble the dramatic change you imagined. A modest beginning can become the foundation of lasting stability when approached with patience, honesty, and care. I am not teaching you to chase wealth or measure your worth by what you possess. I am teaching you to recognize that every resource carries both a blessing and a responsibility. What enters your hands must be handled with wisdom, and what grows in your life should never become a source of pride, fear, or control. For some time, financial uncertainty may have occupied more of your thoughts than you wanted to admit. You have worried about bills, obligations, family needs, unexpected expenses, and the possibility of not having enough. You may have felt ashamed, because your circumstances did not match the life you expected to have by now. You may have compared yourself with people who seem more secure, more successful, or more capable of providing for those they love. But my child, your financial condition is not your identity. A difficult season does not make you a failure, and a prosperous season does not make you more valuable. Money is a tool. It can meet needs, create opportunities, support meaningful work, and bring relief, but it must never become the measure of your peace. If your heart depends entirely on numbers, no amount will ever feel completely safe. There will always be another possibility to fear, another expense to anticipate, or another person who has more. True stability begins when wisdom replaces panic and gratitude replaces constant dissatisfaction. Begin by paying attention to what is already present. This does not mean ignoring your needs or pretending that financial pressure is insignificant. It means refusing to let scarcity blind you to every resource, skill, relationship, and opportunity that remains available. You may have knowledge that can be developed, an ability that can serve others, experience that can be applied in a new way, or a connection that leads to honest work. Do not despise an opportunity because it appears smaller than your original vision. Some doors are not final destinations. They are training grounds. They teach consistency, sharpen ability, and prepare you for greater responsibility. Walk through the doors that are honorable and wise, even when they do not impress others. Work done with integrity has dignity, whether it is visible or unnoticed. Treat every assignment with care. Arrive faithfully. Learn what you can. Improve where improvement is needed. Let your character become dependable before you ask for your circumstances to become larger. You have sometimes prayed for increase while neglecting the importance of stewardship, but more is not always a blessing when what is already present is handled carelessly. Learn to distinguish between needs and impulses. Consider the long-term effects of your choices. Avoid making decisions merely to relieve a temporary emotion or impress people who are not responsible for your future. Create room to breathe wherever possible. Reduce what is unnecessary. Fulfill obligations honestly. Save with patience. Spend thoughtfully. And ask for guidance before making commitments that may burden you later. This is not a message of fear or restriction. It is an invitation to freedom. Wisdom creates peace because it allows your resources to serve your life instead of controlling it. Gratitude must become part of this process, but do not treat gratitude as a bargain in which you thank me only to receive more. Gratitude is not a formula for obtaining a reward. It is a way of keeping your heart clear. It helps you remember that provision is not produced by your effort alone, even though your effort matters. Strength, opportunity, insight, health, time, and supportive people are also gifts. Begin your day by acknowledging what has been given before focusing on what is missing. Give thanks for the ability to work, the food available today, the shelter that protects you, the person who offered encouragement, or the wisdom gained through a difficult mistake. Gratitude does not deny hardship. It prevents hardship from becoming the only truth you can see. When an answer arrives, remain thankful. Do not forget the lessons you learned during uncertainty. Do not allow relief to make you careless or success to convince you that you no longer need guidance. Pride often enters quietly. It tells you that your progress came entirely from your own strength, that you no longer need correction, or that people with less must simply have failed to work hard enough. Resist that thinking. You do not know the burdens others carry, and you must never use your provision as a reason to look down on them. Let what you receive make you more compassionate, not more self-important. Generosity is one expression of that compassion, but generosity must also be guided by wisdom. You are not required to give out of fear, pressure, or manipulation. You do not need to prove your faith by placing yourself in unnecessary hardship. Give freely when you are able, with sincerity and discernment. Support what is honest. Help where help can truly strengthen, rather than create dependence or enable harm. Sometimes generosity means money, but it may also mean time, knowledge, encouragement, a meal, a practical connection, or the willingness to listen. The purpose is not to display goodness. It is to allow what has been placed in your life to become useful beyond yourself. At the same time, do not feel guilty for establishing healthy limits. You cannot answer every request, carry every household, or rescue every person from the consequences of their decisions. Compassion without wisdom can become exhaustion. Ask what is truly yours to do, and release what is not. I am not calling you to neglect your responsibilities in order to satisfy every demand. I am teaching you to give from a place of peace rather than compulsion. My child, provision is not only about having enough for this moment, it is about becoming someone who can handle what arrives without losing peace, humility, or purpose. Let honest effort shape your days. Let wise choices protect what you build. Let gratitude keep your heart open, and let generosity prevent your blessings from ending with you. Do not be discouraged by gradual progress. Stability is often formed through many small decisions repeated over time. A careful choice today may prevent a burden tomorrow. A skill practiced consistently may become an opportunity later. A small amount managed faithfully may create room for greater responsibility. Continue moving forward with patience. You do not need to force abundance, chase every promise, or fear that one missed opportunity will destroy your future. Walk through the doors that align with truth, work with integrity, manage with wisdom, and receive each provision with a thankful heart. In this way, what comes into your hands will not merely meet a temporary need. It will help build a life marked by steadiness, freedom, responsibility, and peace. My beloved child, you have heard my call. Face the wounds that once shaped your identity. Learn to trust me through uncertainty, allowed restoration to begin within you, and received instruction on handling provision with gratitude and wisdom. Now I am asking you to respond not merely with words spoken in an emotional moment, but with a life that reflects what you have received. Your response is to rise with courage, walk with discernment, and carry my light into the places where fear, confusion, and discouragement have grown strong. You do not need to become loud, impressive, or widely recognized. Your influence will not be measured by how many people applaud you. It will be revealed through the steadiness of your character, the truthfulness of your words, the kindness of your actions, and the faithfulness of your daily choices. The world is filled with voices competing for your attention. Some speak through fear, promising safety if you surrender your peace. Some use shame, telling you that you will never be worthy. Others offer quick answers, exaggerated promises, or paths that appear bright but lead away from integrity. Learn to recognize my voice among them. My voice may correct you, but it will not humiliate you. It may challenge you, but it will not manipulate you. It will lead you toward truth, compassion, responsibility, humility, and courage. It will never require you to abandon wisdom in order to prove your faith. When a message produces panic, greed, hatred, or pressure to act without discernment, pause before accepting it. Not every confident voice carries truth, and not every spiritual claim reflects my heart. Test what you hear by its fruit. Does it lead you to love more honestly, live more responsibly, forgive more freely, and walk with greater integrity? Does it strengthen your dependence on truth, or does it make you dependent on the person delivering the message? Does it bring clarity, or does it use confusion to control you? I have given you the ability to think, pray, observe, and seek wise counsel. Use those gifts. Discernment is not distrust of everyone. It is the refusal to surrender your direction to every influence that demands access to your mind. You must also guard yourself against the voices of criticism that have followed you. Some people will misunderstand your growth because they benefited from your lack of boundaries. Others will question your decisions because your new direction no longer fits their expectations. You may be called selfish when you stop accepting unhealthy demands, distant when you create necessary space, or unrealistic when you choose faith over fear. Listen carefully for truth in correction, but do not allow every opinion to become an authority over your life. Humility means remaining teachable. It does not mean allowing others to define you. Receive counsel from those who demonstrate wisdom, honesty, and genuine care. Release contempt, mockery, and criticism designed only to diminish you. You are not required to answer every accusation or defend yourself in every conversation. Sometimes peace is protected by silence. Sometimes wisdom requires distance. Sometimes the clearest response is to continue living with consistency until your character speaks for itself. As you move forward, remember that my light within you is meant to be shared. You do not carry hope only for your own comfort. There are people around you who are silently fighting battles similar to those you have survived. Some appear strong but are close to giving up. Some feel forgotten, ashamed, or afraid to speak honestly about their pain. You do not need to have every answer for them. Often, the greatest gift you can offer is your presence. Listen without rushing to correct. Encourage without making promises you cannot guarantee. Pray without turning another person's suffering into a performance. Share what you have learned with humility, remembering that their journey may not look like yours. Let your life demonstrate that healing is possible, that boundaries can exist without bitterness, that faith can remain steady without denying reality, and that gratitude can survive even in difficult seasons. Your example will often speak more powerfully than your explanations. A calm response in a tense moment, an honest apology, a patient conversation, or an act of kindness done without recognition can reveal my character more clearly than many dramatic words. Do not underestimate the influence of ordinary faithfulness. Every day presents opportunities to choose who you are becoming. When frustration rises, you can choose restraint. When pride appears, you can choose humility. When someone is overlooked, you can choose compassion. When fear tells you to retreat, you can take one wise step forward. These decisions may seem small, but over time, they form a life that others can trust. Challenges will still come. Following me does not mean that every road becomes easy, or that uncertainty disappears permanently. There may be seasons when pressure increases, familiar fears return, or circumstances test what you have learned. When that happens, do not assume you have lost your way. Return to the truths that have carried you. Slow your breathing, quiet the noise. Remember how I sustained you before. Ask what is true, what is wise, and what faithful action is available now. Do not let temporary emotion make permanent decisions. You have developed strength through everything you have endured, and that strength will continue to grow each time you respond with courage rather than panic. Keep gratitude close, especially during ordinary days. Notice the morning light, the food before you, the conversation that brings comfort, the strength to complete your work, and the unexpected kindness that interrupts a difficult moment. These small gifts are not distractions from the journey. They are part of it. A grateful heart remains awake to goodness without becoming blind to pain. It recognizes that life is not only the destination you hope to reach, but also the moments through which you are being formed. At the end of each day, release what you could not finish. You were never meant to carry tomorrow into your sleep. Give thanks for the guidance you received, the strength that was sufficient, and the lessons hidden within mistakes. Where you acted wrongly, admit it and make things right when possible. Where you did well, receive peace without pride. Where questions remain, place them in my hands again. Rest with the assurance that new mercy will meet you in the morning. My child, this is the response I desire from you, not fear-driven striving, empty promises, or temporary emotion, but a willing heart and a faithful life. Walk forward with wisdom. Speak with kindness. Act with integrity. Remain teachable. Protect your peace without closing your heart. Use what you have received to strengthen others. When you stumble, return. When you become tired, rest. When confusion rises, listen again. You are not being sent forward alone. My presence will remain your refuge. My truth will remain your compass, and my love will remain the ground beneath your feet. Let your life become your answer. Let each choice say, I trust you. Let each act of compassion say, I have not forgotten what you carried me through. Let each courageous step say, fear will not lead me anymore. Your story now continues not as a record of what wounded you, but as a testimony of what grace can rebuild. Go forward, my beloved child. Carry peace into anxious places, wisdom into confusing moments, and hope into hearts that have forgotten how to believe. You have listened. Now live what you have heard.